Hey everyone, it's Ken and Andrea here from Northern Viking Explorer. Today we want to share with you our likes and wishes from our recent cruise on Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas.
Now, we really enjoyed this cruise, but both Ken and I independently started creating a list of things that we really loved and things that we wished that they had.
So I actually started making mine on the ship. I know you did as well, and we finished them up here at home. We're going to be going over 4 different categories today and giving you our likes and wishes. So the first one is layout and amenities of the ship, the cabin, the food and restaurant, and the fourth one is entertainment and activities. Now, of course, we couldn't do absolutely everything on the ship. It's massive. There's so much to do, but we want to share with you our experiences. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So Andrea, let's dive into the layout and amenities of the Ovation of the Seas.
Okay, first off, I think this layout is nearly perfect.
I would 100% agree. This is one of the best layouts I've seen on a cruise ship.
Now, one of my favorite spaces, though, is the 270. And I know you agree. So why don't you explain the 270?
Okay, the 270 is just phenomenal in there. So it's a 270-degree theater of glass, I guess it is what you would call it. And it's multiple stories. You access it at the aft of the ship on deck 5, but it goes up to deck 6, and it might even go lower in the back. It's gorgeous. So during the day, you can go sit in there on the couches or lounge chairs, and there's great sight lines. I guess the stages, some of them rise up and down, and even like the cruise director would come up in the middle of the plant somewhere. It's gorgeous, and they'll have dance classes, different things throughout the day, or activities, and then at night they can do their performances in there. Phenomenal. Really, really beautiful theater. They did tell us it cost $33 million to build that theater, and that is probably one of the nicest theaters I've ever seen on a cruise ship.
Absolutely. And I even loved how they had a lot of variety of seating type. So if you want kind of more theater seating, if you want to sit up at a bar and have a beverage and watch, if you want to sit on a couch, like it's like really a multi-purpose, multifunctional, beautiful, beautiful space.
Yes, for sure. It was really nice to go in there. I was really impressed with that. The other thing I do want to talk about is the main theater as well.
Oh,
The Royal Theater at the front of the ship. Massive theater, amazing sight lines. You can come in on the balcony, you can come in down below. It's tapered. It's like a traditional cruise ship theater that they put performances in there.
I really appreciate it. And what was even more amazing to me is 15 minutes before the show, there is still seating available.
And we can't say that for every cruise, but for our cruise, there was seating available very close to the showtime. So that was awesome.
And it's big. And we were on a sailing that was at max capacity.
Yes.
And so they really designed this venue large enough for this cruise ship.
100%. It's a gorgeous theater. One of the best I've seen at sea as well. And the sight lines, there's very few seats that don't have a good view of the stage. And it's a traditional stage where it's raised up, and they put on amazing performances there as well.
Now, I'm probably stealing this from your list.
Probably.
We keep separate lists, but we tend to talk.
Yeah.
I love the Royal Esplanade, the promenade, interior shopping, mall kind of feeling.
I've said this for years. That's one of my favorite things on cruise ships is the mall feeling kind of in the middle, the Royal Esplanade. I actually have that on my list. It feels, even at night, you feel like you can go wander back and forth and just kind of get a nice big open experience. They've got the pubs in there, the little shops. They've got the music hall in that area, and it's just a fun place to walk back and forth.
Well, and you hear the music coming out of all of those other venues as you walk by, and it's really quite a lovely experience with their little cafes and the shopping centers. You know, I love being out and looking at the ocean, but it's sometimes nice to come in and have that.
No, for sure. I have a few comments about things, and I want to come back to that in a moment.
Sure.
Can I go through a couple here that I really liked?
Absolutely.
So I really liked how long the running track was.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was, I think, over 500 meters.
I think it was 553.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was quite long.
Yeah.
So you really nice and long. I do have a wish for that a little bit later, but the outdoor pool area was really nice. But they also had the indoor pool area. So especially on an Alaskan cruise where it was cooler, the indoor area would be quite full
For everybody.
Yeah.
So kids, adults, everybody was welcome in there.
So that kind of brings me though to I love this was the solarium, and I know you love this as well. It's one of the reasons you wanted to go on this ship was the solarium.
Absolutely, the 270 and the solarium. When you see pictures of it, you're like, this is what I want to go to Alaska on.
Yeah, the pools in the middle of the solarium are kind of tapered infinity pools that come down. Then at the bottom there's 2 large hot tubs, and each of those hot tubs is kind of 2 hot tubs.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like 4 hot tubs there, full glass around it. Now, I'm trying to remember, is that at the front of the ship or the back of the ship?
That's
the front of the ship.
The front of the ship.
Yeah, so it's at the front of the ship. You can even go out on the side and stand on top of the bridge. They have little doors there. It's beautiful. The solarium, again, especially that's why this ship is so good for Alaska. There's so many indoor areas where you can see everything.
And what I thought was really cool about both the 270 and the solarium is they had coffee shops or bistros really close to them.
Yes.
So they're both easy to take a snack or some
or go
food.
get breakfast in the solarium bistro. Yeah.
It's like really easy to enjoy those venues throughout the day. Really well done.
I have some smaller things I just want to go through. They've got a flow rider on there, which is, if you like that sort of thing, that's awesome that they have that. They also had the iFly skydiving simulator as well.
Yeah.
So they keep you busy with that kind of stuff. The gym was large.
It was beautiful.
It was multi-leveled. It was huge. Really, probably
one of the nicest I've seen.
I think that's probably the nicest gym I've seen on a cruise ship.
I did like the 2 level, like where they would hold the classes down lower. That was kind of fun. And they also held the contests for the draw for the spa was in there as well.
Yeah, so it's on top. It's one level above the spa, and really nice.
Yeah.
In that. So I think that's. I mean, I could go on all day. There's so many beautiful venues. The music hall, 2 stories. They have a stage in there as well as a dance floor. The bars in there, pool tables, all sorts of cool stuff. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ship.
Amazing. And you think of the Seaplex.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that.
The Seaplex, it's huge. So I don't know how to describe how big that would be.
Well, it's basically a gymnasium in the middle where they do roller skating. They've got bumper cars there. Unfortunately, the bumper cars were broken this week, so.
I heard they were working on it though the following week, so it was temporary. But it's all inside.
Yeah.
But it's very light. Again. They have hot dogs in there. Like, there's food planned kind of everywhere around these venues as well.
Well, and then on the kind of upper promenade around the Seaplex, they had like foosball tables, ping pong tables. What's the where you?
Or not shuffleboard, but air hockey.
Air hockey tables. There was the Xbox kind of lounge. There was all sorts of stuff up there that you can do right above the Seaplex. So they play basketball. It was just an awesome venue, especially for the kids.
And adults. They also did family archery in there. Like a lot of different events. It was a super cool space.
Yeah.
You know, one other thing I want to mention about the layout is it was simple to figure out. I felt like you had your 3 main inside levels.
Yeah.
And then you had your 2 priority, like outdoor pool
levels.
and the level above the pool. So really simple. And I did like how the casino was lower. On a lot of cruise ships, you have to walk through the through the casino to get into the theater. You didn't need to do that on this ship.
It was kind of under the Royal Esplanade. So there's a big staircase, you can see it down below, and it kind of was behind the lower level of the music hall, but it was out of the way, but easy to access for those who want to use it.
Yeah.
Before we get into the wishes, I do have one more thing I want to say.
Yeah.
I felt like there was very little that was broken on the ship, and I say that with knowing that the bumper cars and the bumper cars were broken the whole week, and the bionic bar was only up and running the last couple of days of the. But little things. There wasn't chipped things. Our room was in excellent condition. There wasn't things broken off, things plugged, things...
No
I don't know.
sign of wear and tear. Like,
Yeah.
everything looked really clean and fresh.
Mm-hmm. And anything that was not working, it seemed like they were working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, excellent ship.
Well-maintained.
The layout and amenities, just awesome. But,
Yeah,
wishes.
Wishes.
Yeah. Do you have any?
This is pretty small because I thought the ship was pretty close to perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There were times when activities let out, though, or different times of the day, that I felt the elevators were very, very busy and hard to get onto at times.
I don't have that on my list, but I would 100% agree. There were times where we had to wait. There's a bug. A big
We
like
had to
mosquito.
wait, back. Is that how you get on the elevator? Let me on.
Yeah. So there was where we waited for a couple of times for the elevator to come, and then we just said forget it and walk the stairs.
Yeah, so I guess we should have just taken the stairs.
Yeah. So I mean that was only usually like right after a show, but it was more. So there's the midship elevators, which there's basically two banks midship, and then there's the front bank.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't aft elevators. So I
did
think
get busy.
It did get busy for sure. But most cruise ships do get busy after the shows, but it just seemed extra busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'd have to agree.
I do want to say one thing though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have footage of this, and I wish I did. There was a gentleman. They rolled a piano into one of the glass elevators, and he was playing it in the evening, going up and down, and you could hear it.
I have footage.
You do have footage.
Yes, it's
Ooh.
vertical though.
Oh,
but,
that's
yeah.
okay. That's cool. Yeah, it was really neat. You could hear it playing, and
Yeah.
that's besides the point. But other wishes?
No, I just thought everything was pretty close to perfect.
I have a few little
Yeah.
wishes. So I know I'd already kind of mentioned the bumper cars and the bionic bar. I said I love the running track, how long it is, but I don't love that there's lounge chairs around the running track. And it wasn't as big of a deal in Alaska because the weather was cooler and people weren't sitting outside as much. But I could see in a hotter climate, it would be super annoying.
But there was one time on our cruise that this was an issue.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
This-
You want to explain it?
Yeah. So when we went to see the Dawes Glacier, we go up the Endicott Arm. So the running track has an amazing view of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all out on the running track, and the staff are serving hot chocolate and coffee out there to us.
And it's probably the best views of the glacier from there.
And this was about 6 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But there was probably 2 or 3 individuals that were clearly annoyed because they were trying to get their run in.
Mm-hmm.
And they were annoyed that we were all gathering to watch.
Not just us, hundreds of people
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
gathering to watch the glaciers, and they're trying to get their run in. I get it. It's a running track, but it's also the glacier that you went to Alaska to see. So, I don't know.
There was a little conflict at that time. Nothing was said, but you could tell a little bit of annoyance there.
So, that's one of my wishes.
Okay.
I have a couple that kind of run together. So,
Yeah.
The Lido deck at night, they really shut it down.
Yeah.
So, how would you say this? We were at the pool, the indoor pool that was open till, I think it was the indoor pool, open till midnight, but they started locking doors off. Like you can't go necessarily into the market or the Windjammer.
Yeah.
They'll shut off the doors. They started locking off doors. Even though the hot tubs were open till midnight, the towel station shut down at 10, so you couldn't get a towel. So you had to bring your own towel from your room. They even started chaining off the hot tub area at 11:25 when it was open till midnight. And I had to actually remove chains and pry the doors open to leave.
To get out.
And they seemed almost annoyed, but they'd left. Then they came running back, and it's like, well, you're open later, but they'd shut it all down.
They'd even locked the restrooms up there, and there was one woman upstairs on that deck who said, "There's not an open restroom up here."
Yeah.
She was quite
So
distressed
you
by that.
you couldn't wander the whole Lido deck. You had to, if you were there as kind of your section, they really shut the doors down and stopped you from doing that.
So I would have to agree in my wish is that if they're going to say that the venue is open to a specific time, keep it all open.
The whole area. Don't chain us into the hot tub.
Yeah, it makes you also feel like
Yeah.
they don't want you up there anymore, even though it says that it's open. It's uninviting.
It was all fine, but it just seemed odd to me.
Yeah.
Other than that, the layout and amenities were absolutely phenomenal on the ship. Probably some of the best I've ever seen on a cruise ship.
An absolutely beautiful ship. We were on deck 7 in an inside cabin with a virtual balcony. So Ken, tell me what you liked about it.
So it was cabin 7521, and there's lots to like about this cabin. It's actually we've had quite a few interior cabins, and this was probably my favorite.
Yeah, definitely up there.
Definitely up there. Some of them have been more spacious, but this one was definitely up there. First off, this is the first thing I check. It had a glass or acrylic shower door. I love that. It makes me so happy. I don't like shower curtains.
I agree. That was really nice.
And there was lots of storage.
Yeah, especially over the bed.
Lots of drawers over the bed. There's a cupboard that opens up on both sides and went the whole width of the cabin. There's just tons of storage, and it seemed very spacious.
It did.
For a small cabin.
It did. I like that there was the little chair that you could sit in. There wasn't a couch, but there was a chair.
But there was 2 chairs.
The little one that goes with the vanity. So you could pull both of the chairs out and sit in front of the TV if you wanted together in front of your virtual balcony. It was pretty lovely.
Your thoughts? There's quite a bit I have.
Well, I'm going to talk about the virtual part.
Okay, let's start out with that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't know if this would be super cheesy and be like, what's the point of having a fake balcony? I wasn't really buying into it, but I'll tell you what I really liked about it. I liked that I could see the weather outside.
Yeah.
When you had it, we kept it on most of the time during the day, so you could tell if the weather had changed.
And it's floor to ceiling, a big TV floor to ceiling.
It adds a lot of light into your cabin, and it does make you feel kind of more like you're seeing out, even though it's not real.
We could see other ships going by on there. It actually, I believe, when we were in port, it would often show out the side of the ship, but as we were sailing, I'm pretty sure it was showing off the front of the ship.
I think so too.
I have that on my list too, and I thought it would be hokey getting on. And it actually turned out to be one of my favorite parts of our cabin. It was really cool. I really liked it.
I did too.
Yeah. And I didn't know what to expect, so...
Yeah. I would agree.
For a minimal amount more, it was cool. And
this cabin was really clean when we came in. I didn't find a single thing out of place or awkward. I thought it was really nice.
Often we've gotten on ships and maybe the shaving mirror or something like that has smudges on it. You can tell they forgot to clean it, or you've even found...
I found a broken fingernail.
In the corner, different things like that. Yeah. This was spotless. And I understand that can have to do with your cabin steward as well. By the way, James, awesome job.
One of the friendliest cabin stewards ever.
Yeah. He was awesome.
Amazing. So not just a clean cabin, a friendly cleaner, which is amazing.
And I don't know that we've ever had unfriendly ones, but he was extra friendly.
He was. Yeah. He was. Really nice guy.
But yeah, it's super clean, and I think the feel, the colors all went together as well. It was very neutral, but calming.
I liked it. And this one, some of you may be like, oh, that's a good thing. There's no coffee table in the room, so it's easier to walk around.
Yeah.
You're not walking around the coffee table. The vanity does move.
Yeah, you could pull it out.
So you could pull it out and sit and use it as a table, put both chairs on each side or however. It was very flexible that way.
Yeah.
But it made it less cumbersome to move. I didn't feel that panic we're squished in a little space.
No, for sure. Because there was no coffee table, there was a kind of open area right in the middle. So
you had breathing room. It was nice.
I do need to say, most cruise ships, but our suitcases did fit under the bed.
Yes.
We have 30-inch suitcases. They fit both of them under the bed, no problem. They just slid under. And again, the wardrobe was quite large. There was enough, hangers for us for a week. The safe was in there. And you'd mentioned that, not on this video, but to me, the fridge isn't, it's a fridge, but it's not a super cool fridge. It's more like a cooler.
They call it a cooler. So it's one of those things, if you require, especially for medication, you want to contact the cruise line ahead of time to make sure you have a fridge cold enough for those things, because it is a cooler. It's cold for your soda or whatnot.
The beverages we put in there were cold, like not ice cold, but cold, like I would comfortably have them. Yeah. So, any other things? I have quite a few here.
It was really quiet, and it could have been partially our location, because we were like in an inside hall, and it was a dead end. So
there was
not
probably
a lot of people walking by.
At the most, maybe 6 cabins that would walk by us.
I didn't wake up once to anybody walking by. It was super quiet.
Yeah, I would agree. So I do want to, this is a I'm going to say one wish with this one.
Okay.
So there was a plug beside the bed, which was super handy, but it was only on one side of the bed.
My side.
Your side.
So it was good. There was no problem.
Yeah. So I wish that there was one on both sides of the bed, or at least a USB on the other side.
Yeah.
But only one side of our cabin had a plug. But the regular plug, so there was, I believe it was 2 regular 120s, 2 USB ports, and 1 European plug. And we actually bought a European plug adapter, which has USB-C and USB-A in it. So we had some extra plugs there. Actually, I'll link that below in the description if you do want to pick one up, because it was super
helpful.
handy. Yeah.
And I actually, because out in the hall, most of them are those European plugs.
You even took one, and we were in the C-Plex, I think, and you plugged it in and was charging your phone out at the C-Plex, because I think they plug their vacuums and things into them. So you were one of the few people plugged into a wall outside of the cabin. So
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
You know what? I love the cabin. I thought it was well organized, well put together.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to mention?
I have a wish, but I have a couple more things that I really like.
Yeah.
The TV, I really liked how it was on a hinge. So it did swing out maybe 30, 45 degrees from the wall. So you got a better angle of it from the bed.
Yeah.
There was quite a few hooks, so there wasn't a draw, like a wash line in the shower, but there was 2 hooks in the shower, 2 right outside the shower, and then a couple more on the door.
I actually, first I was like, oh, like since when does a cruise line not have one of those clotheslines? But I actually thought it was faster to hang up a wet swimsuit in the shower on a hook. I actually
it was actually better. Yeah. I agree. I have a couple that you'd already mentioned. I did have that it was extremely quiet. There was a full-length mirror as well, and I know were really happy about that. But other than that, it was an amazing cabin. I would not, if I'm booking an interior again, would not hesitate to book that cabin again.
I really liked it.
And it was nice. It was a little bit further from like the Lido deck and all that, but it was only a couple flights above the Royal Esplanade, so we usually just walked there.
We usually took the elevator to go up to the Lido deck.
Yeah, but walked when we went to the lower
inside
decks.
stuff. Yeah.
So that's it for likes. Did you have likes?
No, I have some wishes.
I do have a couple of wishes, or I actually already said one of them, so you can go ahead first.
I don't know if you're going to agree. You can set your own temperature in there, but I found the cabin slightly warm.
I do not have this down, but I would 100% agree.
In general, I found the ship warm, like the whole ship. Now, kind of a funny thing though is our wardrobe was freezing cold. Like our clothes were cold. So I actually opened the wardrobe doors at time.
Yeah.
Because that let more cold air. Somehow.
I think the vent went up behind the wardrobe, and it kept the walls of the wardrobe really cool. So I think that,
the clothes were ice cold.
So if you're on there, check that out. Maybe it might cool it down if you leave your wardrobe open.
Yeah. Kind of a weird observation, but.
Yeah.
It
made sense. But it definitely was a warmer ship.
Okay, I have one more thing that's technically not in the cabin.
Okay, I have one more for the cabin, but go ahead.
Okay. It's getting on the way to the cabin. So our cabin, like I said, was like on interior hallway. And when you turn to go onto the interior hallway, I was going to say highway, there's a little bump, like a transition.
Well, it's like the floor raised maybe 3 inches, so there was kind of an angled floor.
So probably 3 times. It probably took me about 3 times before I finally learned to not hit that bump.
Well, we both nailed it and almost went flying.
and you know, like,
we
had food
no
and...
drinking here. That was just us walking,
Yeah.
and it's because you don't kind of see it because it's in the carpet and it just goes up, and we both stumbled. I almost lost all my pizza.
So like it's totally a small thing, but I was a slow learner with that one.
Yeah. My last thing is a wish. It wasn't my favorite mattress.
It was firm.
It was quite firm. I didn't come home with a sore back, but it wasn't my favorite mattress.
I found it a little hard, especially like on my shoulder and hips. It was definitely...
Yeah.
And there were already 2 added, like
when we showed up, there's 2 layers on it.
Added to make it softer. So, you know what? We did talk to our room steward. He said he could look into it. But we just said, don't worry about it. Yeah. It's okay.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Not a mattress I would buy.
That's for sure. Wasn't the worst, but...
I do want to say, that I just thought of this now, though.
Yeah.
The bedding was really, really comfortable.
Yeah.
And the pillows were very comfortable.
Yeah. I have another wish, though. This is like totally small. But there's no hand lotion or hair conditioner. So the only thing provided for that toiletries is like a bar of soap and then 1 body wash and shampoo. That's like a 2-in-1 body wash shampoo.
But no conditioner.
No conditioner. So a little limited on the products.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
And there's one more thing that you haven't talked about. You talked about how you liked how the TV turned out.
Oh!
You didn't talk about the actual programming.
That's true. I was actually thinking about this, and...
I'm surprised, because this was a big issue for you.
So, I actually went to the front desk and asked, because on the clicker for the TV, it said, like, interactive. And I just assumed that almost every cruise we've gone on, there's, like, complimentary on-demand movies and... Sitcoms. At least movies. And they said, no, not on this ship. There's not interactive, like, on-demand TVs. And it's like, you know, the TV there's stuff on TV, but it's fairly limited. And I was just surprised that there wasn't.
But apparently it's on some of the other ships, but not on this one.
But it's not that we go on the cruise to watch TV. We don't. But it's nice when you're relaxing in your cabin at night, maybe to put on a comedy or something. And there wasn't any of that.
Yeah. So there's still quite a few channels, but it is limited.
It was hard to find anything I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
So I just watched stuff I downloaded on my phone. But it's nice if your favorite comedy is on the demand.
I think all in all, though, it's a really nice cabin. It was very comfortable. You know, these are like small little wishes, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, amazing cabin, and we really enjoyed it. So let's dive into the complimentary food and restaurants that we had on the Ovation of the Seas. Andrea, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, you know, let's start with the main dining room.
Okay, sure.
Now, they have multiple main dining rooms. So, and there's kind of 2 options. You can do where you do early or the late seating or the My Time dining. Yeah. And we did the My Time dining. So we were either seated in the Silk or the American Icon. So there's
was it American Icon Grill or just American Icon?
I think you're right. I think it's American Icon Grill.
Yeah.
So they're separate restaurants across from each other, but it's the same menu, just different decor.
Yes, one is American Icon kind of decor, and the other one has a more Asian influence.
Definitely. Yeah. But it's the same menu.
It's even the same check-in desks and maitre d's for both of them. So you don't go to a different spot.
Yeah. So, so what I really like about Royal Caribbean's main dining rooms is they use tablecloths.
You're so right. I love the tablecloths.
I like it. They use white, clean tablecloths. And when you eat your bread, they come by after you and they scrape all your crumbs off. It's that like old school, real cruising, formal feeling.
I love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a little ashamed that I tend to make crumbs somehow. I haven't mastered eating my
it's all the
crusty
crunchy,
bread.
crusty bread, yeah.
Sometimes I sweep it on the floor before they come so they don't know. But
Can I add to what you just said though? They also bring you a menu right away.
Woo! even though you can see the menu ahead of time, even before you get on the cruise, you can see it in the app, but they don't ask. They just bring you the paper menu.
There's no assumption that you're going to use the app. They bring it to you, which is awesome.
I love that. And I love that the tables in general are not like really close to each other. Because we've sat on many ships where I could maybe slide my hand between the two tables. So you might as well have been sitting together. You actually
I feel like you're looking at my list right now.
I'm not, I promise. I think we agree on the same things here. But it felt more like you could have a more like private conversation without, you don't feel like you have to talk with the table next to you. Although we did that at one table because they were just so nice.
Yes. One thing I want to say, and this doesn't have to do with the necessary, like the restaurant, it has to do more with the location. So on lots of ships, you need to, if you're trying to find the main dining rooms, they're at the back of the ship, but you often have to go up a level, walk to the back, and then down. These were actually on a floor, so they were easier to find.
Much easier. You're not going around a kitchen where you have to go up and down. It was simple. And
I did have a note, like very modern style, and I know we already talked about that as well. So, do you want to talk about the service quickly there?
It was fabulous.
It was wonderful.
And even during the meal, like different staff members would come over and check and ask, how's your experience going? And they want to know, were you happy with everything? And we
went there for breakfast a few times as well.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed that.
It was the same experience at breakfast. It was awesome. I know we haven't really talked about the food. So your thoughts on the food in the main dining room?
I thought the food was very tasty and good. It's what you expect when you order. They've changed their menu recently, so now there tends to be a theme every night.
So it was French night, or French. Not everything was French, but it would be kind of themed or Italian, that sort of thing. So
I wasn't totally on board with that idea at first, but I did find things that I liked, but I didn't. When I looked at the menu, I would say there wasn't as many things on the menu that I was interested in.
Yeah, the one, I can't remember which night it was. There was one night where I was like, oh, I'm not like super excited about any of these, so I ordered a steak.
Yeah.
I could still order a steak, but I would agree. And breakfast, it was really nice, so you could still get, and this was all complimentary. You could get your complimentary orange juice, coffee. You could order eggs however you like them. They had the parfaits. They had, fruit platters, toast, sausages, bacon, everything.
I think it was the best French toast I've ever had.
It looked amazing.
Best. It was like brioche bread. Brioche. It was so good with the maple syrup and the berries and the whipping cream.
Yeah.
It was like really nice. And we said orange juice, but there was actually multiple juices you could order that were.
Yes.
They have fresh squeeze and then they have complimentary. So there's two different lists there.
And for dinner, some great meals as well. So they did have, on one of the formal nights, they did have, was it Maine lobster?
Yeah.
So you could have a lobster tail. You could have one complimentary, and I want to say it was $16.99 if you did want a second one.
Something like that.
They had all sorts of different steaks and different things, fried chickens, different chicken meals, a lot of different options throughout the week, salmon. And some of the appetizers were fun too. Escargot. They had lots of different salads and different dishes.
What was the one that I went and ordered too? Not caviar.
Oh, calamari.
Calamari was probably also the best calamari I've ever had.
It was good. The dipping sauce was really good with it.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. So, highly recommend the main dining room on the ship. The food was really good. I will say this though, a lot of the items that you're interested in the main dining room, they will have something similar in the Windjammer buffet. So if there's something you missed out on, I would check. And I think that's common on cruises. If there's something, they might keep some of the items the same, so you might be able to find them in the buffet as well.
But you don't find everything from the buffet in the main dining room.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, because we had walked by the buffet one night on our way to dinner, and they had this taco bar or nacho type bar.
And I really was craving Mexican food.
So.
And then it was Italian.
So we were hoping there would be some kind of nacho dish for appetizer down there. But you did have the artichoke. No, not artichoke. The spinach dip with chips.
The first night. That was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Well, since we kind of brought up the Windjammer, should we talk about that?
Yes, but first let me just add about the main dining room.
Okay.
The bread is also awesome, and they bring you a whole basket of bread for your table.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's probably not a good thing for me because I love bread.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, now we can talk about the Windjammer. I just had to talk about the bread.
So I'm going to lump a couple things in here together.
Okay.
The Windjammer, like the buffet area, is huge. I mean, there's a lot of people on the ship, but it is huge.
Yeah.
And it's an island-based buffet.
Small islands. Little
Small
islands.
islands. And I love it when they do this rather than one line because it saves so much time. So we've been on other ships where we've waited 15 or 20 minutes to actually get some food because everybody's one by one.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to meet, and then you got to stand in line past all the salads and then all the soups and all the categories. So this way you just jump to the part you want. It works better.
Even though it's an island, there might be a line, but it's only 2 or 3 people rather than 50 people. So it makes a big difference, and you can just kind of go to which side of the island you want and line up. And honestly, there weren't very big lines at all to get food in there. Even when it was packed busy, you weren't waiting for more than 1 or 2 people.
Sometimes it was a little busy when you looked because a lot of people moving around in different directions, but it was quick to get food.
And in there, I mean, massive bread selections. They had massive salad selections, fruit selections.
The deli meats, the cheeses.
Deli meats, yeah.
Like for breakfast, the bacon is out. There's lots of bacon.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like they're policing it at all. Like,
they did custom omelets, but they kind of took your order and they'd give you a kind of a time how long it took. Like it could be a long wait for it in the morning, but there was lots of other eggs, fried eggs, steaks. It all changed throughout the day.
And then, of course, the juices and the coffee. And I have a thing to say about the coffee. This is silly, but other cruise lines, you go into a coffee machine and you hold the button down and it dispenses the coffee. This, it poured, like the system there.
Yeah.
Coffee came really fast. So there was never a lineup of people to get coffee. It was a much faster system. Plus, they walked around with coffee and juice, handing it out.
Yeah, I have that on my list, is that they actually would come around and ask you if you wanted juice or coffee when you're sitting down and brought it to you, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
And just back on the coffee, the brand of the coffee was Lavazza. And the coffee tasted really good.
They did serve Starbucks on the cruise ship as well in different cafes. That was paid for coffees, though.
Yeah, yeah. So we did have the coffee cart, and we did order our caramel macchiatos and those sorts of things, but those you did have to.
But I also really enjoyed the complimentary coffee. It was good. And then, of course, they had the half and half and the different kind of creams and milk. There was nicely set up.
They also had quite a large dessert bar.
Okay, yeah.
And lots of different options there. The desserts were really good. How do I say this? Not necessarily all of them were my favorite, but some of them were amazing. And they had donuts.
They did have donuts, which goes nicely with the coffee. Okay, this is the breakfast at the buffet, so in the Windjammer. This sounds obvious, but I don't find this on every cruise ship. I really like my oatmeal. They actually put milk by the oatmeal.
Yeah.
So other cruise lines, I've scooped my oatmeal and I can't find the milk. I have to go get it at the coffee station, which is fine, but it was a better flow. Like the design of the islands, they made sense. The stuff went together. You had all the amenities that you needed for that item.
I would agree. I think we've gone through most of the stuff I have to say. I mean, we could talk about the Windjammer all day long.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about 2 other kind of, I don't want to call them buffet areas, but so there's something called the Solarium Bistro, which was a buffet. So it was a little bit quieter by the Solarium, and they did not have quite as large of a selection, but that was a good place to go eat as well, which was complimentary.
For breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
Not dinner.
Not dinner, but that was very enjoyable. And then by the 270, they had the 270, Cafe 270, I think it was called, which had a little bit better hours throughout the afternoon if the Windjammer was closed. And you could they made like sandwiches in there. Soup. They'd make you salads. You could also get complimentary coffee and like iced tea lemonade in there.
Yeah, and there was also the desserts were kind of by the paid coffees, but they're complimentary.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really nice as well.
It was nice.
There was also a lot of smaller kind of specialty restaurants that were complimentary. I shouldn't say a lot, a few others. Fish and chips. So fish and chips, but it was called fish and chips. So you could get fish and chips and French fries, or shrimp and French fries.
Yeah.
And did they have a burger or a chicken burger? Fish burger.
And I think there was a couple other things.
They did have some dessert. They offered like a daily dessert.
We missed it though.
Yeah.
It wasn't available when we went.
They also had some paid for items there, so not everything was complimentary, but I enjoyed that, especially in Alaska. It was like nice to get some fish and chips.
My favorite though there was the shrimp. The
Okay.
shrimp was really good. If I could go right now and get something, I'd get the deep fried shrimp. It was good.
I don't have a lot. I have a few more restaurants I just quickly want to talk about. There's not a lot to say about them. It's nice. Sorrento's Pizza in the Esplanade is open really quite late, so you can grab pizza really late into the night. The Cafe Promenade, I believe, was 24 hours, so really kind of small selection in there. Some desserts, some fruit.
And just
sandwiches.
water and coffee. No, none of the flavored waters were there.
So that was a nice place if you needed to grab something. And then the other place we had a hot dog once, but the Cplex Dog House was super handy if your kids are out there in the Cplex and want to just grab a hot dog for lunch. And actually, they were really good.
They're really good. I'm not always a big hot dog fan.
But I had the bratwurst, and you had.
I think it was like a chicken apple, and it wasn't greasy. It was really, and like the buns had good flavor. I had I think like everything bun. I was surprised that I enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yeah, so super handy. But the food, I was quite impressed with it on this ship.
It was good. Yeah, really good.
Should we jump into some of our wishes? I have a couple.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Okay, so this is a wish, but it's actually not a problem.
Okay.
So before you get on the cruise, you can start making your reservation times for the My Time dining. And I felt very stressed about it because the times all filled up way in advance.
Months in advance.
And it was kind of like, I can't eat till like 8:45 at night. Like, how's this going to work? So it's not actually a problem. There's more spots available than that because they also have like a standby line. So don't panic. If you can select the time ahead of time that you want or pick the best, but when you get on the ship, talk to the maitre d'.
If there's something that doesn't work for you, see if they'll be able to switch it.
Yeah, because they were so accommodating. So it's kind of like a wish that was already fixed. So don't panic about that. If you see the times not lining up for you.
On that, it's kind of along the same lines. We did the My Time dining, and the earliest I believe was 6:15. I wish that the My Time dining would start sooner.
Yeah, if you do the early dining, you get in earlier.
Yeah.
But then the problem comes in is your port times. You really need to look at your port
and
times.
show times. I just felt really rushed at dinner, trying to get to the show.
We wanted to see everything.
Yeah.
So you try to do as much as possible, but you also want to be in port as long as possible. So it's kind of this tug of war, right? I have another one, but this goes back to the Windjammer.
Okay.
I know why they do this, because the Windjammer can be exceptionally busy at times and very difficult to find a seat. So they have this very loud announcement asking you to leave as soon as you're done eating so that more cruisers can come and sit down and eat.
It was super. I don't have that on my list, but I would.
Super loud and super
annoying, and it actually kind of ruined the experience a little bit at times.
So you eat your food and it's like repetitively going off, and it's like, how do you sit there and eat your dessert and sip your coffee and relax when you're like, attention?
Yeah.
It just, I didn't like it.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
Yeah.
I have a couple for the Windjammer as well. So, the Windjammer hours were shorter than on other ships for the buffet.
A lot shorter.
And when they shut down, they fully shut it down. You couldn't even walk through. So I guess my wish would be, if you're not going to extend the hours, at least allow people to go sit at the tables and drink a coffee, because they fully shut it down. You couldn't even walk through. And especially in Alaska, it's so nice to just go, I don't need the food. I just want to go grab a coffee and sit by the window. And it didn't allow for, as we've seen on other ships, where in the slow hours in the buffet, people go there and play cards or read a book with their coffee. And it didn't allow for that. They fully shut the doors, or there was a guard there.
A guard. A guard.
And I just wish that they would allow you, just shut off the buffet part in there and allow you to stroll through there and grab a coffee and sit and use the tables.
I agree.
So, but other than that, it was really good. The other thing, the other wish I had, the main dining rooms seemed extremely busy.
Yeah.
Like, busier than I can remember on other cruise ships for the main dining rooms.
Okay, yeah.
I just feel like they were just constant people, and they were quite small, even though they had multiples. They just seemed really busy.
They were busy. They were highly efficient.
They were.
The people, like, the table would clear next to you, and one person would come and take off the linens and put on, and someone else walked right in behind them and drop the tablecloth. Like, this whole team, it was impressive to watch. The turnover time was really impressive.
Yeah. But
very busy for them.
Very busy. So I did want to say, I don't know if this isn't really a wish, but it's just kind of a observation. If you're looking for the traditional main dining room, like you might see on the Mariner of the Seas, other Royal Caribbean ships that are multi-storied and look really elegant. These are elegant, but they're kind of a one story on the side of the ship versus...
It doesn't have that grand feeling, like, Yeah.
So that would be my other thought. But other than that, it was just phenomenal.
I have one more wish, though.
Okay.
I wanted walnuts with my oatmeal. And in the buffet, there were no walnuts.
Okay. So it's one of those things, it's, they have so much stuff, and yet it's funny because that's something you notice. So it's good to know. Awesome. But I think other than that, we had an amazing time at the complimentary food and restaurants. Really enjoyed it. The food was wonderful. And those are some of our thoughts. So let's dive into the entertainment and activities on the Ovation of the Seas. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I do. I want to talk about the spa tour.
Okay.
Which is, I know, it's not your typical idea of entertainment. But I was really impressed that they offered a very fast spa tour. There was no high pressure sales. They show you the facilities, you walk through.
Yeah.
We were probably done in 10, 15 minutes. I saw everything, any question you had, you could have answered.
Yeah. I would agree. I don't mind the spa tour, but I do not like when it drags on for half an hour, 45 minutes. I just want to see the facilities and sit in the warm chairs.
Yeah. So I really like that. That was great. Thank you for not making me sit through multiple little seminars.
Yeah. And if you do want to stay longer and have them explain more, I'm sure they are willing to do
they
that.
will, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Do you have some more?
Yes. So overall, the music, the dancing, and the technology were all amazing.
100% agree. I think you say technology, that was baffling to me, some of the stuff they did, especially in the Royal Theatre and in the 270. Yeah.
That is where I felt like this ship really shone. It, from the theaters.
This, like the 270, the Spectra's Cabaret, the show, the visuals, the screens, it's phenomenal, the technology in there.
Especially if you were coming with kids, they would love it because there's so many things happening up and down, and the screens are moving and visually stunning.
Yeah. I think it was the first night we did something called the 270 experience. And that was in the 270, of course, and it kind of explains how the 270 works and what's involved in it and demonstrates all the capabilities of it. And it was a really cool show. You said to me it's kind of like a Universal Studios experience. And they show you how they made the different shows and how the robotic arms work and all that kind of stuff.
It's that mix of entertainment and education kind of together. That was good.
Yeah. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the sail away party was fun, but it wasn't. This is actually maybe, I don't want to call it a wish, but it's not as big and spectacular as
some others.
dance party-ish. So if you're,
Yeah.
it was more mellow.
I think the audience or cruisers were more mellow though.
Yeah.
And so that kind of reflected.
It's also Alaska versus maybe the Caribbean. But it was still fun, but it's different experience.
Not as many people dancing or joining in. It was.
Yeah. So.
I have to say, though, I really appreciated for all the shows, they were easy to get into and see.
Yes.
The Spectres Cabaret, we did reservations ahead of time. That would probably be the trickiest one. However, I noticed like 10 minutes before the show, there was still seating. So I'm not sure if there is standby or not.
I would assume there probably is standby. Even the other big show, I'm trying to remember what it was called, A Beautiful Dream in the Royal Theatre, which is their other big show, one of their other big shows.
Yeah.
There was still seating right before it started.
Yeah.
And maybe not the best seating, but there was so much good seating in there where they were still good seats.
Yeah, which is nice because it takes away that stress, because we have been on other cruises where they have run out of seating for their main shows, and we've seen people get quite upset.
Yeah.
So
we've seen arguing and yelling, and
it's great when you're in the middle of it, when the person's you're arguing at the person, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So anyways, it had nothing to do with us, but it's like, so there was none of that.
No.
I never heard anybody stressed about getting a seat.
No.
It was like,
yeah,
it makes it more relaxing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. As for the acts, so there was fun. Like there was a comedian. He did a couple of nights. There was juggling, kind of magic acts, all that kind of stuff. Super entertaining.
And the dance parties.
The dance parties, yeah.
You know, our cruise director, Brian, he is very talented. So he wasn't just a good host. He was great at hosting and being out and meeting the cruisers and shaking hands. But clearly you could tell he's also a singer and a dancer.
Yeah.
So he joined in and was really a part of many of the acts.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen before. So I was caught like kind of off guard by how sometimes you'd be like, that's the cruise director up there.
Yeah. No,
so
he did a great job.
That was, and brought a lot of energy.
I 100% would agree. There were some other fun activities. So I think about, honestly, I really enjoyed the napkin folding demonstration. And they did a towel folding one as well, but that was more watching. The napkin folding one, they give you a napkin and they teach you how to make all sorts of stuff from candles to bananas to pyramids and things. So.
And you know what? There were so many activities. Like, you can't do them all because there's multiple things happening at one time.
Trivia and like guess this tune or whatever.
There was also like a photo hunt.
A scavenger hunt.
Yeah. And you could tell that people were really into this. Like families were doing it.
I think it was a multi-day scavenger hunt. So you got your list early in the cruise and you had to check back in with your selfie photos later in the cruise. So
I could tell people were very passionate about some of the activities they were involved in. So people definitely had their things they like to do on the ship.
Now, I do want to mention, so in the Royal Esplanade, in the Amber and Oak pub, when we'd walk through there in the evenings, there's commonly karaoke going on or a performer in there. And that was a really cool venue.
It was always nice to walk by and hear the music.
Well, you could hear it from the outside as well. You didn't have to be in the Amber and Oak. You could have been probably in Sorrento's next door and heard most of the music and stuff as well. So, but there seemed to be a fair amount of seating in there as well.
It was really nice.
And the same over in what's the two-story, the mini theater with the dance floor.
Oh, the music hall?
The music hall, yeah. So they'd commonly have performances in there, dancing in the evenings.
And that was a big space.
Yes, yeah.
Like for a side venue, that was impressive. Like a good-sized stage and a dance floor and
that's where
two-level seating.
They did other stuff like the napkin folding, the towel folding. Another one I want to mention is Canada Day celebration they did in there as well. So we went to that. They made a big cake. We had Canadian trivia.
It was fun.
Music trivia and stuff, and that was led by Brian, the cruise director, as well. And I appreciated that. So not only did they do regular stuff, but they added stuff like Canada Day. They did a 4th of July celebration as well.
Yeah.
So.
And now, one thing I really enjoyed doing was doing the North Star.
Yes.
Like, that is pretty cool to do.
That was one of the coolest things on a cruise ship.
So, explain what the North Star is.
So, up, I can't, I think it's deck 15, I want to say. It's probably higher than that because you go up the stairs. But there's a big arm that goes up in the air, and there's a...
ball.
Like, I want to call it, like, kind of like a car from a gondola at the end of the arm. Mm-hmm. And you stand in there, and it's 360-degree views. And it's gorgeous. It was really neat. We did it during the day in Skagway, I believe.
Yes.
So they have times where it's complimentary. Usually that's when you're in port. And they also had times where you would pay. So at sea you would pay.
And those were extended.
Yeah.
Like, so it was longer. And then they're also generally, depending on weather and other factors, they can go sideways and they put it over the side of the ship.
Then they did it at the Glacier as well. And I think that was probably the most expensive time to go.
It varied in price depending. So we did the complimentary one. Skagway is really beautiful with the mountains. So it's actually a really good location. We actually came back on the ship and did that then when we got off again.
Well, it was actually good timing. We picked a time, honestly, right around lunch. So we came back and got some lunch and did that.
And all the clouds had dissipated by then. So it was actually worked out really nice because it was cloudy in the morning. So yeah.
So I would definitely try that out. At the very least, do the complimentary one if you can fit that into your schedule. That was lots of fun. Any other likes on your list? There's so much we could talk all day, but
you could talk. I was just amazed by so many things. So
the shows were really good. The entertainment, just so much fun.
Yeah.
Wishes. I do have a couple wishes, and one of them I didn't know where to put it in.
Okay.
So the app crashed a lot.
It crashed a lot.
Like the Royal Caribbean app on the phone.
Sometimes it gave me the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
People be like, just follow the time on the app.
No, multiple times throughout the week, it was the wrong time. And then when you restarted the app, it would be the right time.
So there was a few things. There is like a free messaging that you can message people in your party.
We did that a couple of times, but
I
most
heard
of the time we were
people
together.
say it was delayed and stuff. So we didn't need it because we just follow each other around. But but I saw families like they're like, oh, the message just came through now. It was like 45 minutes later. So not super prompt.
Yeah. Did you have any? I have one more wish.
Okay.
It's more.
I have a few wishes.
Okay. Why don't I do mine and then you can go through yours.
Okay.
Mine is more based on Alaska and taking this ship.
Okay.
It's I wish they had a naturalist on the ship.
I love the naturalist.
So when we've gone to Alaska before, it's usually on the Glacier Day where you're sailing through the fjords or whatever it's called. There's someone on the loudspeaker explaining what's going on, what you might see, just maybe some history and all kind of the technical stuff about what you're doing. And it just actually made the Glacier Day that much better. And I did miss that. We went out on the deck and I was like, hey, where's the naturalist? And I almost came to expect it, and I was surprised there wasn't one.
I like it too because sometimes you're seeing things and you're not sure like what you're seeing. And is that typical or why is that happening? So it makes it, I don't know, you feel like you walk away knowing so much more when they have that. So I did miss that.
Yeah. But that's all I had for that.
Okay, now I feel bad coming with some wishes.
Okay.
You have a short wish list. But I'm going to talk specifically about each of the major shows.
Okay.
And I did we joined the Facebook group for our week cruising and also another Ovation of the Seas group. And I also saw other people's comments. So I kind of want to give a general thing. The Live Love Legs came with a mature warning. And in general, I felt most people kind of gave the overall feeling that they felt that it was too sexy of a show and they would have preferred more of a family friendly.
Yeah.
So my wish is that as they develop these shows that they keep more of a family theme in mind.
It was a very Vegas feeling, that show.
It was very, very, let's say, very sexy and you could feel uncomfortable there. Yeah. So my wish is stay on the family friendly, go a little less sexy. Then moving on to A Beautiful Dream, which, by the way, was some of the most amazing, like, visually like I was so pulled into that.
That was an absolutely fabulous show.
And I really enjoyed it, and I hadn't seen live some of the things that they did. But one of the wish, it reminded me of the movie Up, where his wife dies in the beginning, and that's kind of where the story stays. And it's really kind of sad feeling, even though it's like beautiful and pulls you in. It does kind of leave you feeling, oh, that's sad, like a really sad movie. So I wish it's like more upbeat and happy, but just the things they did in that production was
the performance, the singing, the dancing,
was that what you call a puppet or whatever? Like they had that big, just it was amazing,
really cool,
really cool. And then, I hate picking on things. Spectre's Cabaret was really visually cool, but the storyline was kind of boring.
I would agree. And when we walked out of it, when it was done, that's all people were saying.
Like,
not just us. It was, and even there was on the Facebook group, just nonstop people saying, I didn't understand it.
So the individual, sets were amazing, like the
singing,
singing, but the story bringing it together was kind of lame.
Yeah. Okay.
We always wish this. We always wish that hot tub stay up longer. We kind of touched on that. We always talk about people are still wanting to be out.
There was some open till midnight, but I do wish there was.
But then they got cramped.
They got crammed, yeah.
Like they're too full, so.
Especially when you have the beautiful solarium indoor facility
that could be open.
That could be open till midnight, and it shuts early.
And that way you could then have your adult only. Like I would love to be in the solarium till midnight.
Yeah.
And this is another app thing, or like online programming. Some of the things look full before you cruise. And so you may not be able to get reservations for it, but more reservations open up when you get on the ship.
Okay, yeah.
And even the North Star, we couldn't book that until the day before in the evening.
Yes, so when we went on it in Skagway, the reservations didn't open up till... So someone on the ship who worked there said they opened around 9 o'clock the night before for the following day.
I think it might have said 6 sometimes.
6, yeah. So don't quote us on the time, but the day before. So in the evening we went on and booked our North Star for the following day. That was the complimentary one. But even still at that point, half the times were gone. Like the really good times were gone. So
if there's something you can book ahead of time, book it. But don't fear. As soon as you get on the ship, try and arrange. Ask.
Be, go talk to people.
Be assertive and find out.
Yeah.
So, but such amazing, especially the visuals and the technology, really amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. What a wonderful ship the Ovation of the Seas was, and we had an amazing time. So that was definitely our entertainment and activities thoughts from the week. So I hope you enjoyed our likes and wishes from Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas. We had such a fantastic time on our trip to Alaska, and I'm sure if you're sailing on this ship, you will too. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And until next time, happy cruising and take care. Bye-bye.